Hello, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the one-shot bosses build, walkthrough, guide, tutorial, whatever. I chose Arcanist as a second mastery. I've already put 1 point in the mastery and 1 point in a focus at level 51, and now at level 52 I'm putting 1 point in the mastery and 1 point in a focus. So I chose Arcanist. So before I get into why I chose Arcanist, let's talk about a couple of masteries that I could have chosen, and I think I'd recommend, if you're going to play this build in hardcore, maybe don't go with Arcanist, maybe go with Soldier. There's plenty of stuff on Soldier that will buff any damage type. Fighting Spirit will buff any damage type, Field Command will get your offensive ability up, Squad Tactics will buff any damage type. Scars of Battle Military Conditioning will give you some defensive stuff, and there's always, I haven't highlighted Menhir's Will, but Menhir's Will is a circuit breaker that kicks in and will save your life in numerous situations, providing you use it as a bit of a time gap to hit the escape key and not think you can survive forever just because Menhir's Will is activated. So alternative second mastery number 1, Soldier. Have a look at that stuff on the screen, have a think about what you want to do. Maybe you want to go with Soldier. Alternative second mastery number 2, Nightblade. Now, I originally created a one-shot build character and power leveled it on lore notes up to level 38, went rushing off doing all sorts, and I did actually pick Nightblade as the second mastery on that character. So I've got two. I've got the character that I'm using for the walkthroughs, and I've got one that I'm doing in the background that I'm messing around with. The plan is get both of these things up to level 100 and then do a comparison between an Arcanist second mastery and a Nightblade second mastery, so I can actually show you the damage differences and stuff like how many extra active skills you've got. Now, although Nightblade has got a bunch of stuff that will buff poison and acid damage, I mean quite extensively, it's got Merciless Repertoire, that passive, that buffs poison and acid, and it actually adds flat poison damage to your weapon attack, which we all know will get factored into Trieg's Evil Eye because there's stuff, active gear and skills that will put it on there. You've got Blade Barrier, which is your 3-second invulnerability panic button. So if you miss it out on the soldier's survivability, you've got a panic button there which should help you out. Lethal Assault is the node on Amarasta's Blade Burst that will buff any attacks from any source during that 4-second period after you fired off Amarasta's. Pneumatic Burst again is a good heal buff and a good offensive ability buff that you can trigger. It's similar in a way to Blood of Drieg in that you fire it off and then you've got to remember to get it up whenever you need it up. Veil of Shadow has the Night's Chill node on it, which has poison and acid resistance reduction. Now, a whole bunch of good stuff on that. The only downside from my personal perspective is there's a heck of a lot of extra buttons to press. So although Nightblade's a really good one, and I wouldn't say don't pick it, if you do pick it, be prepared to have quite a few extra buttons to press, and it almost goes into the realms of piano build because you've got to fire off Curse of Frailty on the one side, Lethal Assault's got to get triggered for that 4-second duration thing before you do your main attack on Drieg's Evil Eye to take advantage of those buffs that are up and the resistance reductions that are up. It's not the end of the world, it's just I looked at that and I thought, like I said, I did pick this as the second mastery on the first character I was doing this build on, but then for the one I'm actually doing for this walkthrough, I'm doing Arcanist. Now let's get into why Arcanist is good. So somewhere between level 51 and 52, I was going to take Nightblade and I thought, no, I don't want to do that. I want to take Arcanist. And like it says on the screen, this does not mean you must take Arcanist as a second mastery. If you want to follow the walkthrough and put the points in the way I'm doing it, take Arcanist and go with me. But I'll assure you, this will not let you down because there are so many good reasons for picking Arcanist. First off, acid and poison damage and vitality damage, because you'll also be doing a bit of vitality damage, you can't get away from that, scales with spirit. So the more points you put in spirit, the higher your acid and poison damage will go up. The Arcanist mastery bar provides high spirit. You get 5 spirit points per mastery point on the Arcanist. No other mastery will give you that. Plus, no other mastery has the inner focus passive skill. So you max out to the soft cap and it will boost your spirit by 25%. That is a quarter more than what it should be. And it will also up your offensive ability by 12%. So that's really good. Iskandra's Elemental Exchange is an elemental damage skill. However, there's gear, easy gear, this part of this build that I've already got, that converts some, I think it's almost half, elemental damage to acid damage. So the elemental damage that's getting factored into the weapon attack from Iskandra's is getting converted by gear to acid damage, which is great. The energy leech and energy regen on Iskandra's are useful on any caster build, or any build that's going to be energy intensive. And the putrid necklace, which I'll get back to in a bit, because I know I said ditch the putrid necklace and use Ronoprax's sting, because after putrid necklace becomes a level 32 and above item, that +2 to Blood of Dree changes into +1 to all occultist skills. Maven's Sphere of Protection, this is the interesting part now. This is where it starts to become, how do you make two classes that are not particularly tanky, really tanky? If you soft cap Maven's Sphere of Protection, it provides 22% damage absorption. And if your possession on your occultist side using gear is already at 15 out of 12 points, which it should be, I mean even if it's 12 out of 12, fine, gives you a total of 38% damage absorption. So you've got that much incoming damage isn't damaging you at all, because 38% of it's been mitigated by those two skills, and the damage absorption from those two sources does stack. Next up, Mirror of Erioctes, or however you pronounce it. It's a 1-pointer. Don't put more than 1 point in there. All you care about is the 3 seconds of invulnerability. And where this 3 seconds of invulnerability outperforms the Nightblade's skill with 3 seconds of invulnerability is the Nightblade skill freezes you in place. You can't do anything. You can't run around. You can't attack. You just have to stand there with this thing spinning around for 3 seconds, and then it wears off and you run away. You trigger Mirror of Erioctes, you can still attack and you can still move. And on a chitin build, that's lovely, because doing damage and running away is kind of what the whole thing of the chitin build's all about. So this is a really good skill. There's lightning retaliation on it, ignore that. It's not going to be doing you any good, just forget it. We're not interested in that, we're only interested in the 100% damage absorption. Arcane Will is a good one. It's very much like Fighting Spirit on the soldier side. There's a 100% chance to activate when your health drops below 75%, and that's really good because it means you haven't got to be like close to death for this to trigger off. You can almost go into a fight and deliberately take that damage, knowing that the attack damage converted to health on your main skill is going to easily fill that back up as soon as you start using it. You can almost force yourself to get damaged by 25% just for that to trigger. You don't have to, but you know, it's more likely to go off in a fight than not. And at the soft cap, it will boost all damage and it will add 200 to your defensive ability, so that's really good. And it lasts for 6 seconds, which is great. So you've got that for 6, you've got your Mirror of Erioctes for 3, which is 100% damage absorption. You know, you're building quite a tanky character here without using masteries that are notoriously tanky. Nullification's a great skill. I've used this quite a lot. It's the only downside is there's a 40-second recharge on it, so once you've used it, you can't then be in a fight thinking, oh, I'm going to use this again. You've got to not rely on it. However, if you take a whole load of debuffs, one button press and they're all cleared, and then hopefully you're outputting enough damage to kill anything that's likely to put those debuffs back on you before they get a chance to. So there you go. I'm going with Arcanist for the second mastery, and I hope you enjoy watching how this turns out. If you want to pick Soldier, go with Soldier and look at what the skills do. Pick the ones that buff any kind of damage type and develop a more tanky character. Ultimately, your single skill damage will be lower than if you got Arcanist or Nightblade, but you will probably have a tougher character. If you pick Nightblade as the second mastery, that is not the wrong choice. None of these are the wrong choices. I'm really looking forward to see how the Nightblade second mastery matches up against the Arcanist second mastery when I get both these characters up to level 100. Be an interesting video to put out as well, because I'll go and kill the same bosses on both of them. Won't be exactly the same gear, they're in different save slots, so I can't really do that. It'll be a good comparison video.
am so pleased.
I'll keep your stash safe. I'll keep it.
You've returned. You chose to negotiate with the thieves. And now, the altar of Ratosh is a rare... Now that you have what you... Ever since the Ugdenbog fetish... Yes, deep beneath... Good. You will find her below us.
Radius. At least it appears corrupt. Yet not far.
Give you a good price on what I've got left. Iron well spent.
Have you good? As much as...
Is that your mother? An unfortunate accident, Ulgrim. Yes, yes, I think I remember now. To mount, I see. It's good to see the Sonic. You're right, of course. Oh, to the north is Malmouth. Of that, I am sure. But it seems we're not the...